Okay. Kansas has theoretically lost some ground on the Hill by losing nearly 30 years of experience between Senator Brownback and Congressman T. Hart leaving office. What would you, as a freshman in Congress, plan to do to make sure that Kansas's major issues are still on the radar?
We will have lost. We'll have a very junior delegation. We'll have a total of 2 years of experience in the Kansas House in Washington, D.C. come January of next year. And that does make a difference. My view of how you become an effective leader is the same one that I've had in every walk of life that I've ever been in. You go to a place and you engage, you discuss with people, you fight for the things that matter to you, you explain, you articulate, you provide reason, you listen, you learn, and you work terribly hard to represent the folks that have entrusted you with so much. When you look at the set of issues, that face us here in the 4th District of Kansas, they are indeed enormous. One of the ones that relates most directly to jobs is the tanker program. The tanker program that we need so desperately here in Kansas. I've flown in tankers. I've been in airplanes that were refueled by tankers. And that tanker fleet is old, and it is an abomination that our federal government has not been able to build a new tanker. And it's equally horrifying that they've not built that tanker right here in Wichita, Kansas. So there's an issue I'll go fight on. It's the case that the company that will be the primary contractor for that has decided that I'm the right guy to fight alongside them for. They're supporting my campaign. Lots of the hard-working folks that work there. My mother was a purchasing clerk at the Boeing Company. She graduated from Wellington High and left there in 1947 to go work at the Boeing Company. That is a company with a long and storied history here in Kansas. And I will go work diligently to make sure that that tanker comes back. And I want to talk about a second issue, very important to Kansas, that's not as much on the radar screen. We've got a farm bill coming up in 2012. We've got 8.5 counties out of the 10.5 in the 4th District that are largely rural, largely farm counties. They're growing stuff and they're herding cattle. This administration has made it incredibly difficult for them to run their businesses. We've got an environmental protection agency that's threatening to make tablespoons of water into navigable waterways and take dust particles from the back of their truck and make them controlled substances. Our farmers know better. America knows better, and we need to make sure that our agricultural folks can do what they need to do to continue to feed not only us here in Kansas. So I'll go fight really hard for the folks here in the Agricultural Committee. The Kansas Farm Bureau has endorsed my campaign. The Kansas Livestock Association has endorsed my campaign. They understand that I understand the business issues that face them as folks who are trying to grow food for this entire globe.
There has been a bipartisan tradition for the last 30 years that members of both parties, no matter whether it was Dan Glickman or Todd T. Hart, who's the member of this congressional district, supported our key industry, aviation and agriculture. If I would be honored to be elected as a member of Congress for the 4th District, I would continue that tradition, which would be the seat committee spots, either on science and technology or appropriations that will help the aviation industry. And once again, I will fight. One of the first things I will do to change this tax code, to change the tax breaks and loopholes that reward companies for shipping our jobs overseas. You can trivialize it, you can say it doesn't exist, but the reality is that it does. And if anybody thinks that we are not losing manufacturing jobs because of the fact that we do not elect members of Congress who are going there to change the rules of the game to benefit the worker and not the rules of global competition, then I think they're not living in reality. We must of both parties that go to Washington and support our industry by making sure they get everything they can to create jobs right here at home. And I'm glad that my opponent brought up the issue of agriculture. Again, a tradition, a bipartisan tradition, where members of both parties have supported our wonderful tradition of agriculture here in the 4th District of Kansas. I would be happy to serve on the Agricultural Committee if elected to Congress. And I would follow in the tradition of Dan Glickman, who actually not only served for 18 years, but became a wonderful Secretary of Agriculture for this country that was respected by both parties and farmers and ranchers alike. And what I think is very important to point out is that my opponent talks about his endorsements. Well, I'm proud to stand with the workers of our companies and those people who have been laid off, who would benefit from the policies I propose. And when it comes to agriculture, we do have a fundamentally different worldview. He has said on many occasions that he thinks that the government needs to get the heck out of the way, and in fact that farmers don't want direct payments from the agriculture department because they don't need them. Well, I don't think there's many farmers who actually receive direct payments when times are tough, when they can't get the price at the silo that they need, who would support that policy. So if you actually talk to the farmers out there who need help from the federal government in the bipartisan tradition that we've had since the Great Depression, I think they would have a lot of trouble with the policies that my opponents are supporting.
Well, the support from the Kansas Livestock Association, from the Kansas Farm Bureau, came from those very farmers. It came because I went out and was willing to listen and to talk to them and understand what it was they were facing from a federal government that's gotten too big. And when Representative Goyle tries to create some conflict between class warfare, I will tell you that many of the folks working at those plants are sitting right here with Pompeo t-shirts on. CEOs against the people. This is about folks coming together to work hard. This is about a big government, an enormous government that has made it incredibly difficult for companies to grow their businesses. It's bad for both the business and the workers. They have a common bond. This is not one against the other. This is about a group of folks figuring out how to fight against a big government that doesn't understand what it takes to create an economy that will grow and prosper.
I would absolutely agree that this is not pitting one person versus the other. It's about pitting different policies and vision and values of how we can actually create jobs in the 4th District of Kansas. What we hear constantly is railing against the size of government. Absolutely. We must make government effective, and we must make it as small as possible. But we cannot sit here and only engage in ideology and partisan politics and pretend that somehow jobs will magically grow. That has never been the case. And it is absolutely unrealistic policy that will not help get us out of this recession. What we need are investments in our workers and in our businesses. And I have a proven track record of doing that in the legislature, and I will continue to do that when elected to Congress.